My name is Jennifer. I am 32 years old, and I work for a company. I have been married to my husband, Charles, and 3 years has passed already. Our marriage has been stuck in a rut over the years, and I get the feeling that our intimacy and feelings with each other are getting a little weaker compared to how it was when we just got married. But I would like to believe that we still love each other in one way or another. We do occasionally fight, but we celebrate each other's birthdays and the wedding anniversaries every year, and we are able to live together without any major issues. So perhaps we are gradually becoming more like a family than just a lovey-dovey married couple. For me, I didn't have that much problem with the relationship I had with my husband. But I had some issues with my relationship that I had with my mother-in-law, Laura. Laura was what you'd call a typical bullying the wife type of mother-in-law, and so she would pick on me and bully me, and I was the victim to her trap. Oh gosh! The meals that you cook, Jennifer, is not very tasty. I mean, it's really tasteless, and it's not that even good. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be more conscious about being healthy and making healthy meals, which is why I'm trying to cut back on salt as much as possible. Well, the other day, Charles told me that you don't make any fried meals that often. Is that right? When Charles stayed over at my house the other day, I made him fried foods and he was so happy. You know, Charles was saying that there was no fried food or any meals with fried food at all back at his house while he was eating what I cooked for him. You have to make what your husband wants, okay? Are you sure you're not just being really immature and saying things like how you're afraid of the oil when you fry the food? No, that's not what I mean at all. Well, I will try to make them from now on. The reason I don't make any fried foods is because my husband's numbers and the result of the annual medical checkup which he gets aren't really good numbers. And that's also another reason why I'm cutting back on salt. I'm trying to take really good care of my husband's health, but as his own mother, Laura's just interfering with what I'm trying to do. These thoughts came to my mind as I was really irritated by Laura and everything she says to me, but if I tried to say something like that to her, she would get really furious. So I had no choice but to reply without arguing back to Laura and just shrug it off. But even if I do that, Laura's bullying towards me didn't stop at all, and everything she said was mentally stressing me out. As a typical way for a mother-in-law to bully the wife, they would ask about the wife's pregnancy and if the wife has their grandchild or not. And well, Laura does the exact same thing and asks me if I got pregnant with her grandchild or not every time I see her. I thought she wouldn't go into that too much since my husband has an older brother, John, and him and his wife already has a child. But it didn't seem to matter at all, and she would be very nosy and always asks me, "Are you doing it properly to make a baby? Or you're not doing it at all?" Or say other annoying things like, Why don't you go to a clinic and try the infertility treatment? My husband and I have decided to wait for a baby to come naturally. And well, to be honest, we can't really afford to have a baby at this time. In fact, just a few days ago, my husband quit his job because he said he was depressed. Charles has received a doctor's note and has been receiving unemployment benefits. But it doesn't change the fact that he is still unemployed. So having a baby is just a secondary concern for us. Since I am currently working, we are able to make ends meet for now. But with the rent, living expenses, and other expenses we have to pay, we have very little money saved up for our family. Despite that, Laura seems to visit us at our house often during the daytime because my husband is now at home, and they both go out to eat together or get food delivered to our house frequently. And it seems like my husband is paying for all of it. So, in other words, it is the same as if I was paying for the both of them to eat out or get food delivered from what I earned. No matter how much unemployment benefit my husband can receive from the government, it is only for a limited period of time, so we really can't afford to have a luxurious life. But neither my husband nor Laura understands this situation at all. A year passed in the blink of an eye, and my husband's unemployment benefits came to an end. During that time, my husband did not even try to look at postings for a new job or even try to do anything at all. Well, I can't really say it to Charles too strongly about this because he is depressed. So, I would say it really indirectly and nicely to my husband. Why don't you look for a job? But to this, he would say, I'm not ready yet. But my husband is really energetic. I mean, he eats a lot and does no house chores or try to help around the house and plays video games all the time. And Laura would spoil my husband, telling him that he should rest until he's satisfied every time she sees him. The other day, Laura would just even blame me about Charles's situation by saying, It's your fault that my son hasn't recovered yet. From my point of view, my husband is taking too much time off, and I really don't deserve to be blamed for that. Then, something happened that further escalated for the worse in our marriage. It all started when my father-in-law, Jack, became ill and passed away. Until then, Laura had been living together with Jack, but with his passing, she was left all alone. So now, she came up with the idea of living together with either our family or John's family. John and I had a bad feeling that Laura would come up with this idea when we were at Jack's funeral. At the funeral, Laura was very quiet, which was very unusual of her. John and his wife had often been criticized by Laura as well, and they were concerned about how quiet she was at the funeral. So, this time, Laura's stupid proposal popped up, and I don't know what my idiot husband thought, but he decided that Laura would come live with us without even discussing to me about it. This is the conversation I had between my husband a few days after Jack's funeral.
My mother will come over soon. She said she'll bring out a lot of stuff with her, So she told me to tell you to have a room ready for her to sleep in.
Oh, is that so? Is she staying the night? How long is she going to stay at our place for?
Huh? What the heck are you saying? My mother's going to stay with us forever. She's going to live with us from now on.
Okay, please sign this. With that, I brought out the divorce papers I had kept in a drawer to my husband. He was lying on the sofa, but jumped up when he saw that what I had brought out was the divorce papers.
Excuse me? Divorce? Why?
Well, isn't it obvious? Do you have any idea how much Laura has been bullying and harassing me these years? I wanted nothing more to do with Laura, and now she wants to live with us? I really can't believe this is happening. And I'm sick and tired of you deciding such an important thing all on your own without even telling me about it beforehand. Why can't we discuss these important issues as a married couple?
That's because, in the end, it'll all be decided with my decision anyways.
What the? Are you saying that you won't listen to what I have to say and what my opinions are at all? Once I heard my husband's true feelings, which completely gave me a shock. My affectionate feelings and love for him was completely gone all at once. I really can't do this anymore. Let's just get a divorce right now.
No, come on. Hold on a second. Divorce is not the right answer.
It means that for you, I'm just there so that I can just obey what you say, right? You're going to just make me do all the house chores and earn money with my job, and then now you'll make me take care of your own mother.
That's not what I meant.
I knew there was no point in talking to Charles about it anymore, since it looked like he's already made up his mind. So I went to my room and began to pack my things. And while I began to pack, I realized that the amount of the things I had was quite smaller than I thought. Come to think of it, Laura came over to my house and tried to mess with everything I had and throw some of my things away without my permission. I seriously hated that. So that's why I sent all my important stuff to my parents' house before. And because of that, I realized that I had spent most of my life as a minimalist at this house. Therefore, even if I was leaving this house, I really didn't even need the movers to move my things, as I can move them all on my own. I could just pack my clothes in my duffel bag, and I would only need one cardboard box for cooking utensils and other things. I put the pans and pots and the utensils in the empty cardboard box. And my husband was looking at me with a panicked look on his face.
Are you really going to leave?
Well, yes, of course.
Please think it over.
I was just deeply shocked by my husband's refusal to apologize for what he had done after all this time. So I just shoved my belongings into the car and left the house and headed for my parents' house. My parents were surprised that I suddenly showed up so late at night, but when I explained the situation and what had been happening to them, they were just so disappointed at Charles. Hearing what had happened, my father said,
"You should just leave him,"
which made me feel a little better. I didn't want to talk to my husband when he called me that day, so I turned off my phone and just got into my bed. Thank God I had the next 2 days off, since it was the weekend. It's really difficult to work in such a state of mind. The next morning, I was really impressed that the breakfast was ready when I woke up and enjoyed my mother's meals. I feel a little better after spending time at my parents' house for the first time in a while. And after I calmed down a little bit, I turned on my phone, thinking that I should be getting a lot of calls by now. Then I saw many incoming calls and text messages from my husband. My husband had apparently went back to Laura's house and had sent me messages.
I'm currently at my mother's house. I'm helping her pack her things. When you said divorce, you were just being really emotional, so that's why you just lashed out talking about divorce, right? Well, I forgive you now. So just come home soon. My mother also says that there's no way a wife should leave her husband and leave the house like that. Oh, and just to let you know, I tore up the divorce papers. Well, you can stay at your parents' house for a couple of days, so get yourself together quickly and come home soon.
What the hell? Why did Charles tore up the divorce papers without my permission? I really can't believe him. I was so angry that I replied back to Charles as if I was already dealing with a complete stranger. For your information, I am not being emotional, and I am being logical here. The reason I want to divorce you is not just the fact that you said we were living together with Laura. First of all, you quit your job without even telling me. And after that, you did not look for any jobs at all, and just stayed at home, relaxing around. And you did no house chores or even tried to help around the house at all. I can already hear your excuse saying that it was because you were depressed, but I know that it's not true, you know. The other day, I happened to meet a colleague of yours. You remember Bill, who was at our wedding, right? Well, he said that the reason you quit was because you had an argument with your boss. Plus, Bill said that you made a mistake and it was your fault. But you went against your boss, who was angry with you for the mistake you made on your own, huh? And yet, you took advantage of the company's strict compliance rules and you lied, claiming you were receiving power harassment by your boss, and then went to the hospital to get the doctor's note to show that you were depressed. What a low-life scumbag you are. Who would want to stay married to such a person like you? I will send you the divorce papers later on, so please make sure you check it and sign them this time. If you don't sign the papers, I will lawyer up and sue you so we can fight in court. It's so refreshing to say all the things I wanted to say to my husband finally. After sending this message, my husband stopped responding to me at all. Then, the day after I sent the divorce papers, I received a message from Charles saying that he had signed the papers and submitted them. It seems that he was quite scared of my text messages. I replied, "Please don't ever contact me again," and blocked Charles's number. As for my ex-husband after that, John told me all about the details. He said that my ex-husband was evicted from his house because he couldn't pay the rent after I left. He then returned to Laura's house and is now an unemployed scumbag and relying all on Laura's pension. And John said that Laura had contacted him and his wife asking for help about Charles. But John has refused to help Laura because he knew that his wife was severely bullied by Laura, and for that, he will never forgive Laura for what she had done. So now, Laura has started working as a janitor in an office building because she has to support her son since her pension is not enough to cover them both. As for Charles, he really couldn't get back into the society and work properly in a company. And because of his terrible lifestyle of not moving around at all, he was diagnosed for having diabetes. Well, both Laura and Charles got what they deserved. I, on the other hand, started dating a colleague from work and got married a year later. And then I got pregnant and we had a baby. Currently, my husband, our son, and I are getting along very well and are having a great time together. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you in our next video.